All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. And recently, I just had some revelations, and I wanted to basically go into the connection of carnal things to the spiritual things. Like, for example, comparing warfare that happens in the physical world and using those same elements and comparing it to the spiritual warfare. So there's a spiritual army that Yahawah, BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, is raising up, and he raises up kingdoms through the spirit, right? All the time anyway. This is how kingdoms are raised. This is how kingdoms are cast down. It's through the spirit and power. Okay, so first let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, because I want to make a point that the Most High requires that which is past, okay? And things happen over and over and over again. There's nothing new under the sun, right? Matter of fact, let's just go to 1 and 9. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. It says, I'm gonna read it in the NLT just to keep it moving forward, because I got a lot of precepts. It says, history merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. Okay? So even a newborn baby, that spirit has been here before. But that's another topic. I'm going to move on. I'm going to read Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. It says, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High required that which is past. I'm going to read it in NLT. It says, what is happening now has happened before, and what will happen in the future has happened before, because the Most High makes the same things happen over and over again. Okay, well, that's true, right? That is true. And he requires that which is past, right? Meaning for all types of iniquity or any transgressions you do, he requires a just balance, right? So let me read on to further prove the point. It says, and moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. Okay? It said, I said in my heart, the Most High shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. So the Most High, he requires which is past, meaning that after a certain amount of time has passed, he's going to visit that work. Okay, he's going to visit that work and judge according to, those deeds. Okay, and we see this is synonymous with what's written in the law, Exodus 20 and verse 5. Right? It says, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them, for I am Yahawah your power. For I, Yahawah your power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So as you can see, there is a time and purpose for every work. So there's no getting away. So I said I brung all of these verses in conjunction with the fact that every kingdom that has been established, of course, he raised them up, okay? And after a certain period of time, and of course, all the, the sons of men, this world, pretty much every kingdom, they serve their own idol gods, but we know that there's only one true power. So, and with serving other idols, right, there's going to be a lot of wickedness. There's going to be a lot of sins and transgressions and iniquity that is happening, right, under the sun, the place of judgment. So, if we go to, let's see, I think it's Exodus, no. What is it? It's Genesis chapter 3. No, my bad. Genesis, chapter 15. Bear with me. I'm trying to find, maybe it's not Genesis chapter 15. All right, let's do it again. Okay, I'm going to show an example of the Most High visiting that iniquity. Okay, Genesis 15 and 13. All right, it says, "And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Talking about Israelites being slaves in Egypt. It says, "And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance." Okay, and I'm going to skip on down to 16. It says, I'm reading NLT. "After 4 generations, your descendants will return here to this land, for the sins of the Amorites do not yet warrant their destruction." Okay, so right there, there's a time and a purpose for every work, right? So the Most High, he's allowing iniquity to happen in the land of Israel, the land that's promised to Abram. And then once they have filled the measures of iniquity, he can be justified to take them down because they fulfilled the measure of their iniquity. Okay, so now it's a just balance. So now, after they have been afflicted, the Israelites have been afflicted in the land of Egypt. Okay, now that kingdom is going to be taken down as well. So there's a balance taking place, right? So the Israelites were afflicted, and then they get to be delivered from that affliction, and then therefore they are setting forth to the promised land to take down those people that's in the land. Okay. Matter of fact, let's go to Exodus 3 and 20 because, no, not 3 and 20, but let's see. Because this is when Moses was getting ready for the people to help the people to be delivered. There was a few things that had to be established right before their deliverance. And the reason why I brung up that which is like history repeats itself, that which is then is now, is because this America, Babylon the Great is spiritual Egypt and Sodom, right? Because the Israelites are in the land of their captivity again, and they're getting ready to be delivered. So a lot of things that happened before are happening now, and it's through the Spirit that you can see that. As you can see, we are in the days of Noah. So the iniquity, the measures of iniquity is being fulfilled. All right. So that means that it is the Most High is justified to take this kingdom down and to raise up the kingdom of heaven, in which that kingdom will never be able to be taken down. They'll never have any iniquity in them because the laws will be written into their inward parts. So there will be no iniquity and no cause for any for it to be taken down, because there will be no measure of iniquity to fulfill. All right, I hope I'm making sense. So this is no matter of fact, I'm gonna go show some more examples of the kingdoms, of different kingdoms, like fulfilling their iniquity. But first, let's go to Daniel chapter 4, because ultimately the kingdom, when iniquities have been fulfilled in different kingdoms, there's always a contention, a controversy, a war, there's strife. That's through the Spirit that the Most High, he pretty much sanctions these things to happen so his will can be fulfilled, right? So he works on the minds of these people to want and come and destroy another land, because they're not, for example, like the Israelites, when they kept falling into iniquity, they had to constantly go to war, or just like when Solomon, when he was the king, right? After they fell into idolatry, the Israelites, after they fell into idolatry, the kingdom split, and it was constantly at war, and they actually went into captivity because, they fell into transgressions. They trespassed against Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. So let's go to Daniel chapter 4, verse 17. It says, "This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men." So ultimately, the Most High is setting up these kingdoms of men. He rules in the kingdom. Every kingdom that has been raised is because Yahawah has set it up, okay? And every kingdom that has been taken down by another nation is because he caused that to happen, because obviously they filled up the measure of their iniquity, okay? And it's by his measurement, because he's the just power. He is the just power. So let me go to some examples, because in Daniel chapter 8, he talks about the different kingdoms that are going to be on the earth. And of course, he uses parables and dark sayings. So let's go to verse 23, Daniel 8, verse 23. Matter of fact, I'm going to read let's see. All right, let me just read 22, no, 23. So I'm going to read chapter 21. Verse 21. It's talking about the different kingdoms that's going to be set up. Daniel is receiving this prophecy. So it says, "And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Okay? They're talking about Alexander the Great. All right? The king of Greece. That's the Greek kingdom. They're talking about the Greek kingdom. All right? It says, now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. Okay? So that's when the kingdom, after Alexander died, he had four generals, or whatever you call them, to take his place. Okay? And that's in secular history. It says, in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, and in the NLT it says, at the end of their rule, when their sin is at its height, a fierce king, a master of intrigue, will rise to power. Okay? So as you can see, at the end of their rule is because their iniquities have fulfilled the measures of their fathers. And in this case, these are Edomites they're just talking about. So they have fulfilled the measure of their iniquity. Once they have done that, then the Roman Empire has come up behind them, right? Because after the Greek Empire, it was the Roman Empire. All right. Let's go to Luke chapter 21. Matter of fact, I'm going to go to Joel 3 and 13. Joel chapter 3, verse 13. It says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. So this is talking about in the future, you know, the prophecy of the destruction of Babylon the Great, okay? Because eventually, you know, their sins is going to reach the heavens, right? This is for the press is full, the fast overflow. That means that's the measure. The harvest is ripe. It's talking about the measurement of their wickedness, their iniquity. All right, let's move on to Luke chapter 21 and verse 24. It says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. This is talking about the scattering of the Israelites, right? And the destruction, the 70 AD, right? It says, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So what is that time? What are they talking about that time? Of course, it's a prophecy has to be fulfilled, but it's also speaking about the measurement of their iniquity. Okay? And finally, let's go to Revelations 18. Verse number... Let's go, verse number 4, straight to the point. It says, and I heard... No, this is not straight to the point, but I'm going to read on. It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not her plagues. It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. So, see, he visits those iniquities. He remembered. So it has reached the measurement that the Most High deems is the fulfillment, right? And he's justified, meaning it's a just, and now he's about to make the just balance and reward her even as she rewarded, you know, the Israelites. Of course, she's going to get double. This is talking about Babylon the Great, right? The whore. So her sins have reached to heaven, and her measurement has been fulfilled. Okay? So ultimately, I'm really speaking about the taking down of this kingdom, okay? Of Babylon the Great, right? America, Babylon the Great, and just the whole Edomite supremacy over the whole earth. Okay? So there is before you take down, before a kingdom is taken down, right? Or any nation is taken down, it has to be done. It's usually done by warfare, battles, right? It's plenty of times through history where you can see, that in order for other nations to be taken down, they do it by means of war. Okay, it's bloodletting. That's how Israel, when they got to the promised land through Joshua, which is his name in the Hebrew is YAHAWASHI, and which is actually kind of parallel to the fact that Yahawashi, the King of Kings, Yahawashi HaMashiach, when he comes back, he's coming back as a not as a man. He's not coming back as a man, right? But he's coming to war. Okay? But anyway, let's go to Exodus 3 and verse because this is very important, because like I said, that which is then is now. Verse number 7, it says, "And Yahweh said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows." Now this is talking about, of course, then, the Israelites when they was in captivity of Egypt for those 400 years, right? And then it's very parallel and synonymous to spiritual Egypt today, okay? If you go to Revelations in 11, I'm going to go back to that scripture. Go to Revelations 11, talking about the two witnesses, which are, which represents the whole house of Israel. It speaks about spiritual Sodom and Egypt, okay? It says, verse 8 says, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified." Okay? So it's figuratively called Sodom and Egypt. If you look on the American dollar and look on the back of it, it has the pyramid, and you go to Washington D.C., you'll see the obelisk, the Washington Monument, which is the obelisk. This is pretty much a lot of symbols of Egypt, and also they have also had in captivity the Israelites for over 400 years, right? So their iniquity is almost up too as well. But anyway, it's also Sodom for obvious reasons, because, it's a lot of wicked, lascivious, sexually immoral activities that go down in America, Babylon the Great, which include, same gender, just a whole bunch of confusion, I'll just say it like that. All right, so let's go back. Let's go back. Exodus 3. Because the point I'm making is that there's an army, a spiritual army being established, being built up, also in conjunction with this kingdom being brought down, okay? So this is Exodus 3, because this is happening again. This is happening now. Like, the Israelites here, which includes the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, so-called. And even, we are scattered everywhere. So not just the bywords of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, but also in other places they're called by other nationalities, right? But for the most part, we know that they through prophecy, we know that it's the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It says, he surely has seen the affliction. So that means that he sees our oppression. Even now, we are being oppressed, right? It says, and I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land, and unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. So right now, that promised land right now, similarly, it's being occupied by people, by different nations, right? Specifically, Edom, Idumea. I'm going to just say Idumea, right? So in the same way, back then, he's going to have to flesh them out, right? And then set us inside of that promised land. So he's letting them know that he's coming to deliver. So we're going to get delivered by YAHAWASHI, and then we're going to be taken into that land. We're going to go through wilderness, and then we're going to, it's the same thing. It's going to happen again, right? So verse number 9, no, let me jump on down to verse number 11, because now during this time that we are here now, and we're finding, waking up to who we are and figuring out like who our power is. Now, Moses is about to get the understanding of who shall I say is going to bring the children of Israel out of Egypt, right? So verse number 11 says, and Moses said unto God, who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt, right? Matter of fact, let me go on down. Yes. And Moses said unto God, this is verse number 13. And Moses said unto God, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, the God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? So even today, right, we have received the name Yahawah. That's his name. That's what it means. His name means he exists, right? He is. That's what it means. So just like back then, before the Israelites were being delivered out of Egypt, when it was Exodus out of Egypt, they had to receive or know the name. So that's important. The name was given to Moses before they were delivered, to let them know who sent them. So just like today, the prophets that are in the camps, on the streets, on the internet, everywhere, the truth has finally been, that was so long without fruit, and now it's fruitful. Now it's flourishing. So now we know what his name is, what the name of our power is. It's Yahawah, okay? In verse number 14, it says, and God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me. Right? So Moses, of course, he's not going to go to the people and speak in first person. He's just telling them who he is. He's telling them who he is. He's not going to go to the people and say, I am have sent you. Literally, like, he's not going to literally say, I am have sent you. He's going to say, he is sent me. Okay? He's the one that sent me. Moses is just the messenger, right? He's the messenger to tell them, let them know who sent him. He sent them, right? He sent them. Okay? So I said all that to say is that which is then is now. And a spiritual army raised up in the event to take down this kingdom. You know, that's the only way that the kingdom of heaven can be established. So let's go to verse. Well, first I want to establish a few things, a few points about this spiritual army. Because, of course, our weapons of warfare are not carnal. So these things are happening through the spirit. You got camps being set up. You know, usually camps are a military thing. You know, you got Yasharallah or the Israelites. They're campaigning, you know, for YAHAWASHI in the kingdom of heaven. That's what's going on, right? So a military, let's go into certain terms in which we can connect to what exactly is happening, going on with the Israelites waking up to who they are and coming back to their power and coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments and serving him, serving Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHWASHI with trembling and fear to make sure that they can be saved, okay? So a military draft, we know what a military draft is. It's basically synonymous to being called to be a soldier, right? Called to be a soldier. But in this case, we are called to be a soldier in the spirit, right? A soldier of Hamashiach. And we can go to 2 Timothy 2 and 4 to confirm that being chosen. It says, 2 Timothy 2 and 4, it says, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who have chosen him to be a soldier. So it's an enlistment. As you can see in the NLT, it says, for then they cannot please the officer who enlisted them. So this draft is being chosen, you know, being called, right? Been chosen to be a soldier. And during, you know, the building up of that soldier, they have to exercise. You know, there's I forgot what it's called, but before, of course, they go in the field, they exercise their faith, and they, not exercise their faith, but they exercise, they get their body conditioned. You know, they got to know all the rules and how to serve in the army and whatnot. But they send them to like I forgot what it's called. But they send them to a place to train, okay? And just like that, in a spiritual sense, to be a soldier of Hamashiach, you exercise your faith, you train by studying and learning how to serve, right? Learning how to serve obedience, having obedience. That's how you serve, is through obedience, right? So it's the same way, going back to the scriptures and following, you know, those commandments, okay? And so part of war in the battles and basically warfare, but part of war is casting down different strongholds, pulling down strongholds. That's what they do. And physically, they try to take out or neutralize a certain area in which would be a threat, or basically weaken them, okay? So in the spiritual sense, of casting down imaginations, pulling down strongholds. That's how does that happen? How do you do that? It's through the scriptures, which is the sword. Okay? So the sword is a weapon that helps to pull down, so the sword is a weapon that helps to pull down those strongholds, and strongholds are places where you protect it. You protect yourself from enemies and stuff like that, or targeted enemies. But strongholds today, the pulling down of strongholds is in a spiritual sense, is pulling down like those false doctrines that people have built up, they have been indoctrinated with. Okay, let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 10. Verse 4. It says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds." So we are pulling down the strongholds. This is casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach. So the casting down of strongholds is basically pulling down those constructs that people have built up in their mind, and they hide, what's the word? They pretty much depend on these strongholds to protect their beliefs, right? This is how they reason, because they have already built up just like social constructs. I'm gonna give you an example of a stronghold. Stronghold is calling yourself black. Okay, that's a byword. That's not a real nationality. A stronghold is calling yourself, let's just say Hispanic, right? These are bywords. These are bywords that were given to you by your oppressor. Okay, those are strongholds. And so we cast down on strongholds by telling you your real nationality according to the scriptures, if you believe, of course, if you believe in the scriptures. But, most people, even the people who believe in the Bible, they still would rather refer to themselves as, their nationality given to them by their oppressor, like African American, black, those are just made up, right? But they trust in those, and they've built them up as strongholds. So it's hard for it to come down. Strongholds are very, I would say sometimes can be difficult to take down if you don't come at a certain angle. Okay. So let's keep going. All right. So of course we know the scriptures. If you're good with the sword, you can, through the Holy Spirit, you can cast down these strongholds, right? Through the power of Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RACHAA, QADASH, you can cast down these strongholds, right? Through the spirit, in the mind, all right? And also another thing, what happens in war, right? During war, you got trumpets blowing. Trumpets blowing can be a sign of war. And the Israelites, they blew the trumpet all the time. And the Israelites now are blowing the trumpet spiritually, right? They're actually blowing the trumpet, meaning prophesying against this place, letting people know destruction is coming, that a judgment is coming. That's what the trumpets were for. It's like an alarm, and you got watchmen set up on watchtowers, which they see afar off, right? They see afar off, and then they let the people know by blowing the trumpet and letting them know that destruction is coming, or not destruction, but they see afar and let them know that the enemy or whatever trouble is coming. Okay, so get ready, right? Get ready to protect yourself. All right, so I'm gonna give you an example. Even in today's time, you got whistleblowers, right? Whistleblowers. What do whistleblowers do? Let's see. So whistleblower is a individual who, without authorization, reveals private or classified information about an organization, usually related to wrongdoing or misconduct. And that's exactly similar to what the Israelites are doing, but they're blowing the trumpet to let you know that destruction is coming. So, but through the Spirit, through the scriptures actually, and through, of course, what we see, as witnesses, we see the wickedness, and we're revealing the nakedness of this place, right, of Idumea. All right, and we know different agencies. There's different agencies within militia, or militaries, I should say, and such as like different special operations, special ops, which are basically like different sects of the military that have their purposes and duties. And in let's see, First Chronicles chapter 12 is synonymous to that, because Israelites, everybody had their own special purpose or duty, right? Oh no, this is the wrong one. First Chronicles 12, verse number 22. It says, "For at that time, day by day, there came to David to help him, until it was a great host, like the host of God," right? The host of God is the army of God. So Israelites, they had an army. David, he had an army of just about every tribe, all right, which they all had their own special operations, right? It's the same today, just like in the body of Hamashiach consists of all the tribes of Israel, and all of them, they have their own workings in which they have been dispensated of the Holy Spirit to do that work, right? Let's see. I'm gonna scroll down to give an example. All right, let's see. Okay, for example, you got Zebulun. It says in verse 33, it says, "Of Zebulun, such as went forth to battle, expert in war, with all instruments of war, 50,000, which could keep rank. They were not of double heart." Right? And of Naphtali, 1,000 captains, and with them, with shield and spear, 30 and 7,000. So you had experts of war, some with instruments of war. You had some with shields and spears. Like everybody were experts. They were all experts in war, but they all had their different instruments, right? Look, it says all these men of war that could keep rank came with a perfect heart. Okay. But ultimately, a spiritual army is being raised in an event that this kingdom is about to be taken down, as the last kingdoms have been taken down. This kingdom is no different. Okay, it's not going to last forever. As you can see, the iniquity has been just over filling up, you know, but it's through the measurement that Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI has set up. Okay. And right now, 45 minutes. I'm going to just try to make another video, maybe like a part 2 to this, to express further about the spiritual army that is being raised up and about the tearing down of this kingdom by prophecy, by prophesying against it, right? So, Lord willing, this was edifying. Stay tuned for another one. Shalom.